Because when you go out there and say, hey, I need this part, I only need 20 of them, and I need them in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to say, I'll get them for you. I'll get them, boss. I'll go get them. And then they'll go out and they'll sweep somebody's floor, pick up the parts, remark them, and send them to you. I mean, it's I'm being a bit facetious there, but that's pretty much sometimes the impression I get. That's the impression John and I got after a while, wasn't it?
Is that how they get into the DoD depots and the National Security Agencies?
Yeah. What happens, sometimes you'll get some of the good ones will go in there. You know, these guys are really sharp, so they got some into the DoD depots. So yeah, they'll escape in there. And the DoD does that same thing. They say, well, you know, I need some of these parts, and I need them in 4 weeks. And the OEMs, the OCMs will say, oh, that's a 14-week delivery, and by the way, you got to buy 1,000 of them. DoD goes, ha, I need them in 4 weeks, and I only need 20. So they'll go to whoever, give it to them in 4 weeks, and give them 20.
Now, Denny, this is a government agency, NASA.
Yes.
How would you characterize, or do you know, what companies like Seagate and manufacturers of hardware have the same problem?
Yeah.
Do they?
We did at Honeywell. Matter of fact, I'm going to New York tomorrow to follow up on a counterfeit parts issue that we had with one of our contract manufacturers. And they shipped us boards, and we had a failure, found a counterfeit part, so we initiated an investigation into the whole system. We found two more different part numbers on in that system that were counterfeit parts, and they didn't know. They didn't even have a component engineer. I don't even think they can spell component engineer. So they don't have the personnel to be able to identify it. They also, there were some issues also too. Honeywell has a procedure that's been in place since 2006, and it's part of our standard purchasing and contractual requirements. And we call it SPOC 419, which is basically counterfeit parts prevention. Well, they had that on their PO since 2006, but they never invoked it.
They never read it.
They never read it, yeah. So that's all part of that problem. And contract manufacturing is another issue that really enables electronic part counterfeiting, because most of those companies are not really big companies, and again, they don't have component engineers. Some of them don't even have engineers on the payroll. They have operators, and they have maybe some manufacturing engineering people, industrial engineering types to keep the factory flowing, but they don't have design engineers, they don't have component engineers. So they don't have the wherewithal or the knowledge to be able to counter this. So
how are they getting the jobs that they're supplying to? Are they falsifying their factory complement or something?
That's the whole part of contract manufacturing. All they are contracted to do is the assembly process. That's all. They don't do any design. They're not responsible for the design. They're not responsible for the component selection. They're not even responsible for the supplier selection.
And they're not responsible for the performance.
Right. Most of the contract manufacturers I deal with, they don't even have to test.
I haven't even heard of a contract manufacturer until now.
You know, that's a big,
It must be a new field.
it's a big industry these days. Yeah.
Don't own a printed circuit wiring shop, hire somebody else to put them on the board and solder them for you.
Yeah. That's what big companies do when they don't want to update their capital equipment.
Okay.
They go out to subcontract manufacturers who specialize in doing just that. They don't have any engineering staff or anything else like that, so they don't have all the other overhead functions.
Okay.
Again, this is all
A lot
data
of change
on
in the last 7 years.
counterfeiting and sources of counterfeiting. Most broker organizations are very small and do not have established quality control. When we were up in New York doing our initial investigation at this contract supplier, a couple of the guys did a drive-by. They drove by one of the brokers that was providing counterfeit parts. And you remember the storefronts that they used to put up for the old Western movies? That's what this place looked like. It was just an office. Didn't even have a warehouse. It was just an office. And that was one of the, so they go around and they get parts. Well, all they do is search the web and find somebody who says, I have that part number. And then they go get it, and then they'll ship it to whoever wants to order it. So they're not highly staffed, not highly trained. All they are is people who are good at searching the web. Have you seen this? Anybody seen this on TV? I think this was on 2020. This is on 2020. This is a lady. She's actually using a charcoal grill to heat up a plate to melt solder. And she's pulling electronic parts off the board. They go in this bin, I think, and this is where the boards go.
What about the damage to the components when they're doing it that way?
Exactly. They redress them.
You can't tell inside.
If they take them off right, some of the parts you'll never know.
That's how, that was discovery number one, is we had an 80% failure rate. And it was because we think of heat damage that was done either in original manufacturing or
It's a
desoldering.
very technical procedure to remove a part from.
And it went from probably being a high value part to 80% failure rate
Okay.
because of that.
So yeah, that's how. That's in China. We were teasing. I just got done working on a Kaizen project where we were talking about the scrap process because our finance people decided they wanted to know the dollar value and they wanted us to control and audit anything over $1,000 that was scrapped. So we went through that, and we started. And some people didn't think we were so funny because we were saying, you know, when we scrap this, we call these technicians. They take it out to the scrap bin, and then they sell it on eBay. I mean, they sell it to the person that's going to destroy it.